Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Pat the designer, John Jurko. It's not Courtney Cronin, although John Jurko is very easy on the eye.
Thank you.
How are you, my friend?
My baby blues. I'm feeling good.
We got an interesting topic today. Seems like the draft board
ready.
might have got a little peek.
Okay.
After Eddie George talked about his interview and stated a player that's pretty high on the Chicago Bears draft board. We got to talk about that, and I think it's going to be a very interesting topic because it's a position that both you and I look at as a late-round draft position. So we'll talk about all that more in today's episode of the Chicago Bears podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. How are you, good kid?
I'm feeling great. I'm absolutely fantastic. And I like to talk. I like the rhetoric. I like the conjecture. I like the projections. I like all that. So, I mean, this is the season you're going to get that. I think what becomes more crystal clear as the Bears move forward is what they do in free agency and what they address in free agency. And once they get past free agency, then I think they start leading you in a certain direction to what they might want to do at 10. So, anything between a big tackle from Texas, the running back from Boise State, to any pass rusher that might be coming off the corner, to another big tackle, or listen, you can never have too many draft choices. Even if you trade down, it doesn't even bother me. None of that bothers me.
Yeah.
So I'm a very flexible individual, but free agency will then dictate to me what's probably going to happen in the first round. So I don't mind, let's talk about it. Let's have some good times and let's have some fun.
Absolutely.
But the free agency will dictate to me exactly what they plan on doing in the draft.
Yeah, I think there's some good names out there. There's some surprising names out there for me in free agency that I didn't think would actually be available. I'm still questioning the Trey Smith one. I still don't know if Trey Smith is going to be available.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. But
the Kansas City Chiefs don't have the luxury to do a lot of things. And they've sacrificed offensive linemen in the past. I mean, they've spent a lot on Orlando Brown Jr., and then they let him go.
Yeah.
So they'll identify what they want, what they don't want, and maybe they've got somebody sitting there, a backup or a guy that's on the practice squad, or they're like, okay, we're going to have to address this. They've had the 30th and 31st and 32nd pick for how many years in a row now, and yet they seem to still keep replenishing everything.
Because Buffalo just keeps giving them picks. They keep giving them pieces.
And they keep finding stuff. So that's the way it works. And they trade some of their assets high when they realize, they couldn't pay Tyreek Hill. That's why they trade him.
Yeah.
So at some point, do you go out of your way to bastardize your football team just to play an offensive guard? I don't know if that's the position you do that for. And I don't think Kansas City has the luxury to do that. They don't have that luxury.
Got to pay McDuffie.
The Bears have the luxury. So you want to talk about Ashton Genty, right? And that's
this is not Genty. This is not Genty. This is a little later in the draft, but Eddie George talked about, the meeting with the Bears and how it was a great interview and how they have all their ducks in a row, which is good to hear. But he talked about a name, and he said they asked him about the Ohio State running back, Quinshon Judkins, I should say, who it seems like will be projected right around one of those 2 second-round picks, which would indicate, and he said he's high on their board. If that is the case, what do you need to see done to justify that? And we've seen Ben Johnson, a Ben Johnson-led team, go running back very high, Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round in his time in Detroit.
It's very simple, and it's easy. And, I don't go crazy about any type of projections. So 10 is going to still go to a quality
still
football
be
player,
to some kind of
a foundational piece that's going to help you on the offensive and defensive line. I would say that you need to sign Dahlman, the kid from Atlanta, center. You sign the guard,
Trey Smith,
and then you allow yourself any flexibility you want moving forward with 10, 39, and 41. That's it.
And
that's all. And if you've done that and you address the offensive tackle and maybe that kid that you talked about from Mississippi, Princely Uma.
I like a Princely Uma. I got to learn how to say his name. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I got to say it right. Yeah.
Whatever his name is, Princely. We'll call him Princely.
Yeah.
So if you get the big kid from Texas, you get Princely, and then you want to draft a running back, 1, 2, 3 offensive linemen, a guy opposite of Montez Sweat.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want a running back, you believe you need one, go ahead. I don't mind.
Do you like
I
that
don't care.
process in that scenario?
Well, I only like it in the scenario that I paint.
Right.
And if that's not the scenario that's painted and they fall short in any one of those regards, then yeah, I've got a problem with it.
Yeah.
Because they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs after they built their offensive line.
Yes, they did.
They had 2 first-round picks in that particular draft. They wasted it on a linebacker. Sorry. They did. They wasted it on the linebacker, the kid from Iowa, and they gave it to Jahmyr Gibbs. It's going to come time to pay Jahmyr Gibbs. They're not going to pay him. They won't.
They seem like a team that'll pay running backs. So they're not going to pay huge money, but I mean,
they had a running back that had 17 touchdowns, and they got rid of him and they signed David Montgomery.
Yeah.
Montgomery gave you 14 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. So, I mean, what makes you think they value running backs over there? If you've got an offensive line, anybody they've got the philosophy that when they get in the red zone, they're going to give it to the running back.
Yeah.
So both running backs, Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs had double-digit touchdowns this year.
Absolutely.
So what makes you think that they
really
care about what the running back does? They don't want to overuse running backs because they do a split system.
Yeah. I said do
they really commit
to Monty, right?
Do they really commit
to
the running back position? Or are they looking for a dual running back position where they don't get overused, they can split them equally, and then you don't have to pay them?
Could be.
So there you go.
I think, and listen, I subscribe to that philosophy as well. I think that you missed a golden opportunity to address this last season because you got cocky with the punter. My only concern here is this is a very deep running back draft. Are you looking to take that guy way too early when you can still address some of those pieces? Last year, you said punter and got excited, and not you, but Ryan Poles and Bucky Irving went, 6 picks after?
Yeah.
And he was phenomenal this season.
Yes, he was.
You could have addressed the issue already, and I don't want you to continue to make that mistake.
Well, this is the same general manager that felt this team was in a position to win. They named 8 captains for the football team.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Matt Forte come out and say 8 captains. 8 captains.
I did see that.
He was stunned.
I did see
I mean, it's not that. It's like if you've got 2 quarterbacks, you've got none. You know, that's the theory.
Yeah.
You know, unless it's Joe Montana and Steve Young, then you've got legitimately 2 quarterbacks. But, you know, Matt Forte looked at it and said, gee, 8 guys, really?
How many captains did you guys have?
You like have 2. We had different captains every week, and it was 3 captains total. You had an offensive captain, a defensive captain, and a special teams captain. And when you were a captain, if you won the game, you got a picture of the coin flip. I was a captain, oh, God, I think 6 times with the Green Bay Packers. I've got 4 pictures. So 4 pictures, we won the game. Twice we didn't, and I got no pictures from the times that we ended up losing. So, but you can't. And here, Baselli wasn't ready to be a captain his rookie year.
Right.
It wasn't until after his second year, going into his third year, that he had earned the stripes. Before that, it would have been Doug Weidel, a veteran center that had come in, had already played 1 year there. So Doug Weidel's your natural captain because he'd been in the league for 8 years. He's a center. He's making the calls on the offensive line. If not him, it was Leon Searcy, the free agent that you brought in. Leon didn't like to talk, though. Weidel was more of a communicator. So, you know, Weidel would naturally have been your captain in Jacksonville. You know what I'm saying? Defensively, on the other side of the ball, your middle linebacker was your captain. They drafted him his second year. Brian Schwartz was his name. He was out of a college in South Dakota. He was middle linebacker. He talked. He had himself a little bit of a presence. So he ended up being the captain on the defensive side of the football. But before that, because he talked, Lageman was the guy that talked to the referees.
Okay.
So Lageman was the big guy they brought in from the New York Jets. It was from the University of Virginia. So Lageman was your defensive captain. And who did I say? Weidel was the captain. So it's 2 linemen. We're in the middle. They were your captain.
Oh, linemen were captains, were they?
At some point, Brunel, after he established himself, Brunel in 97 or 98 would have become the captain then. It would have been him and Baselli. You know, in his third year, him and Baselli would have been the captains naturally. When Jimmy Smith and McCardle established themselves, if Baselli wasn't on the ground, it would have been your quarterback and it would have been one of your receivers because both Jimmy Smith and Keenan started to establish themselves. Freddie Taylor in his 4th year, Freddie would have been a captain.
Right.
Because Freddie blew it up his rookie year, continued on his success. So Freddie Taylor would have been one of those guys. As you go defensively and you develop Tony Brackens, Kevin Hardy.
It wasn't just given. It
those
was about
guys,
development.
right? It was Brackens and Kevin Hardy both came in the same year with Aaron Beasley, and all 3 of them became starters. Right, in their first years that they were there in 1996. By 97 and 98, those guys were ready to take over the mantle because Lagerman got hurt in 99. They had to jump somebody in there. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So naturally, the talent dictates, and Brackens had a presence about him, so that wouldn't have been an issue. And Kevin Hardy was your middle linebacker making calls. So it's kind of a natural progression that you have throughout the course of the year. Sometimes your quarterback's not ready to be a captain. I think Caleb knew that he probably didn't deserve to be a captain, but he wasn't going to turn it down and say, no, I don't want to be a captain.
Right.
But I think he kept his mouth shut and learned.
He absolutely did.
Yeah.
He absolutely. I mean,
keep my mouth shut. I'm going to learn. You guys are the captains. But DJ Moore as a captain, the way he acted, that was poor. That's poor. If you're a captain, that's the way you want to act. You got to question yourself. What are you really doing?
Yeah.
So I wasn't in agreement with what they did. You had a reserve tight end that wasn't going to play at all, kept making mistakes, kept being illegal procedure, wouldn't line up right, and you're going to make him your captain?
That's J-Mac's biggest beef with last year, I swear. We talked about it yesterday on the pod.
Dumb.
J-Mac said, you can't miss a day of practice every week and be a captain.
Right.
You just can't.
You can't.
You have to lead by example.
Like Clyde Simmons.
On the field.
Clyde Simmons was never our captain. But Clyde Simmons was a bad mother humper. You know? Clyde was a bad man.
Yeah.
Clyde didn't have to be the captain because Clyde just went and played.
Yeah.
That's all Clyde needed to do. He didn't want the responsibilities of talking to officials. Clyde just looked like he was grumpy all the time. He came in just with a sour look on his face. If you get Clyde to smile, it is a good day. But Clyde was a professional. Clyde got after the quarterback. That's what Clyde did. And he was phenomenal. The way he played and the way he prepared for the game mentally. At the point physically, he couldn't wear himself out during the week.
Yeah,
because you wanted him there on Sunday. Fortunately for us, our coaches knew it. John Peace, our line coach, and Dick Geron, they didn't wear him out. They said, Clyde, you're not doing any plays today. Don't worry about it. And they knew. They knew you needed him on Sunday. Monday through Friday didn't matter.
But he's also not somebody who is a captain. He doesn't have.
He wasn't a dog. He did not want to go out in sweatpants.
Yeah.
He wanted to be dressed. He wanted to be in the uniform. But the coaches had to judiciously use him. So.
Yeah. I think that is a big question that I have heading into next season as well. Kind of, do you have leaders on this team? I love the coaching staff that you've built. Do you have players who are leaders? I hope that Caleb steps up in one of those moments.
So the best part I like about this year's free agency and the draft is hopefully some of your most important linemen, they'll get free agency. They've already proven themselves.
Yes.
You're not picking at the middle of the barrel. You know what I'm saying?
You better not pick.
You're up at the top. You're picking from some of the premier guys in the league. Now they're going to have to get paid. I don't know what you're going to have to pay the kid.
Trey?
Yeah, Trey, 21 million.
25, probably about 25.
I don't think you're at 25. They're not making up. And I'm going to tell you why. The top guard makes 21 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're making a $3.5 million jump to go to 25.
You think around 22 million somewhere?
I think you're going to you'll beat those guys 22 million. I think other teams, we got a lot of cap room. I think other teams are looking at other areas to improve. Not as many teams have a woeful offensive line as the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
I think you get him at 22. I think you get the center at about 16 and a half, 17.
Dahlman.
So I think your total expenditures for your two offensive linemen will be $40 million a year combined,
which is double last year's entire offensive line.
I'm sure. I mean, that's not the place to go save money. It's kind of ridiculous. Then you got Darnell Wright, and you'll get the kid from Texas with the 10th pick.
Kelvin Banks.
Now you've revamped 4/5 of your. I mean, not revamped. You keep one.
Rebuilt.
You get three, and then you got to find somebody that's got the ability to play right guard.
That's going to be that's what Trey Smith is.
Right.
Or are you moving him left side?
Well, wherever he is, he can play right, then you get a guy to play left.
Yeah, for me, I'd put Trey Smith right side. He played at Tennessee with Darnell Wright for 2 years.
There you go.
It was dangerous, and Darnell comfortable with somebody standing next to him for one year. How much
They could be pals.
I know you were on the defensive side, but how important is just having the comfort of, I know what he's going to do next to me? Because I feel like Darnell Wright hasn't had that his entire career with dealing with Nate Davis, dealing with Matt Pryor in and out.
I mean, listen, that's not something that takes, 6 years to develop.
Right.
If you can't develop that over one off season and training camp, that's where you develop that. You develop it by repetitions.
Right.
I mean, that can be developed over the course of 6 weeks in training camp.
Well, Nate Davis wasn't there for 6 weeks.
Well, I
but
get,
you're
I
saying
get it.
With Matt Pryor.
I go, it's not right.
Nate.
It's not impossible.
Right.
But you've got to see it. You've got to practice it. You've got to go through it. You've got to be able to identify it when you're looking at it, when you see it and saying, hey, there might be something. You might be able to pick something up from the other team and say, boys, let's be wary. They might have something screwy going on here. To be cognizant of the fact that it can be run is important. And then keeping the other team off balance is just as important. Not allowing them to be able to pin their ears back and come after you would help your offensive linemen too.
Yeah.
So establishing the run is also an important part of that.
I love the opportunity that the Bears have this offseason. I want to play a little game after we take a break here to do a quick ad read, but I want to play a little game, a little and or. We're talking about this Bears trenches moving into next season and what's going to get us in a winning situation quicker. But you got a word from our people at Mitch Lyons?
Oh, absolutely. We've fortunate for us to be able to get in a partnership with Mitch Lyons and Mitch Lyons Wealth. He's a former NFL player like myself. He played in Pittsburgh. He played in Atlanta. I had a chance to chew some of the same dirt with him, and we probably played against each other 4 or 5 times, so it was always fun. MitchLyonsWealth.com. If you're looking to grow your investments, you're looking for to improve your retirement, the game plan for retirement. Now, he's got an official line in here I want to get. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. But you've got to prepare. You got to prepare for your golden years. And if you don't prepare for your golden years, they're going to get here and you're going to be stunned and you're going to say, boy, why didn't I think of this before? MitchLyonsWealth.com. That's who you want to talk to. That's what you want to take a look at. He's got a free tax calculator on the website. You can order a free book. He'll send you a book about some of the stuff he's done. And he's also got a podcast that he's done, as when he was promoting his book.
Yeah.
And it's good stuff. Get a chance, if you can, go ahead and listen.
You were on that podcast one week, weren't you?
Yep. Yeah, I was on the podcast this week. We're previewing the Super Bowl.
Oh, Super Bowl preview. I like that.
So Mitch Lyons, I've had a chance to meet him, to touch base with him. You and I both have. And I had a chance to do the podcast with him, and I chat with him a couple times a week.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Shout out Mitch Lyons, man. We appreciate you supporting the podcast.
And we both got hurt.
Chicago.
Both got hurt in the same year. 1999. Yeah.
Same game?
Career-ending injuries. No, different game.
Oh, dang, career-ending.
But when I broke my leg in 97, he was with Pittsburgh.
he tweeted me. It was hilarious. We were on new baby at the house.
Sure.
3:45 wake up.
That's the way it works.
I was like, I got a show in 3 hours. The kid won't go back to sleep. I'm giving him a bottle. I was like, so I tweet out, I'm like, I'm up. It is what it is. Like, I'll be up in 3 hours. Mitch Lyons said, I got a baby too. It's a dislocated shoulder that keeps me up at about 3 a.m. as well.
I did the podcast with him, and he's sitting here with his left shoulder all pinned down. He's got the harness on.
Yeah.
That harness don't go anywhere for 8 weeks, by the way.
He just had surgery.
Yeah, he just had surgery. So his hand is pinned here, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
My son had shoulder surgery. He had to rehab it. He had to do it, and it's not comfortable. It's painful. And there's really nothing you can do.
You can't roll over.
Nothing.
Get well soon, Mitch. Get well soon.
All right, let's play the game.
Let's finish it out. Or Jurko.
Yeah.
Would you rather see the Chicago Bears address one piece in free agency on the offensive and defensive line, or see them be more aggressive on one side of the ball if you had to pick one?
The way I painted it earlier today is I want them to look at the offensive side of the ball, specifically the offensive line, the center and the guard positions.
Yes.
So 2 guys and then 1 in the draft. That gives me 3 new guys on the offensive line with Darnell Wright and whoever you can plug in there at left guard. That's the way I foresee it to go. So that's what I want. Address the one. I think they can do the other one too in the draft with that Princely guy. So you get your pass rusher with him.
Yeah.
And you get the big tackle Banks from Texas. There, I gave it to you. That's what should happen.
So you feel free agency should go offensive, not go after one of those names possibly where, maybe you make a trade in the offseason or something like that to go get a Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson.
No. I don't want to trade for Chase Young. I don't want to trade for Crosby. I don't want to trade for the other guy that's available, Myles Garrett. Nothing. You got to keep your costs in check in the same regard. Your free agency money is going to be spent taking care of Caleb Williams.
Yes.
Okay, that's imperative. Your defense ranked 12th in scoring defense last year.
Yes, it did.
For as bad as it all looked, and for as bad as it was, and for all the rushing yardage that you gave up, you were 12th in scoring defense last year. You know where you were offensively? You were up the list. You were like 27th when it came to offensive scoring. So let's protect our quarterback. Let's not go, I'm dreamy-eyed. I got googly eyes. Oh, look at this. Ooh, I'm falling in love with defensive ends. No. Find yourself a young, inexpensive one in the draft, please. Go ahead.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at
next
it.
One.
That was my and/or. That was the
that was the one? Beautiful.
That was the big and/or. I mean, listen, I feel like I would go and. I think you can address the defensive side of the ball and the offensive, and you address two spots in the draft, but are you not comfortable having two rookie offensive linemen start? Is that kind of why? Because I think you could go Jake Majors center in the second round, and you could go with one of those tackles in the first round that may end up being a guard.
They want running back. That's what's scary.
They want running back in the second round here.
They want a running back. Right? That's what they said.
That's what Eddie George said. He said he's on the list. I'm just telling you where he's slated.
When I do that the way I do it,
yeah,
it gives you a chance where you can have your line for at least 3 years. Darnell's third, fourth, the fifth-year option.
Right.
3 years, center for 3, the right guard for 3, the new left tackle for 5. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You've got a chance for continuity then on your offensive line.
Mm.
That's why I address it the way I address it.
I'm here for that.
Yeah. So, and the center and the right guard aren't going anywhere. Darnell's not going anywhere. So, right. But that's the point. Nobody's going anywhere. I have now built my offensive line, and it's going to protect my quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's what I need. And it's going to open up holes for running. It's talented. It's good. Dahlman was the 4th center PFF.
Yeah.
Good. Because we've screwed up and we can't identify offensive linemen. Let's get 2 guys that we know can play.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I don't mind. Again, I said,
I love it.
$40 million per year. Everybody goes, well, he's going to cost you $120 million. Wow.
That's fine in my trenches.
Hey. No, just look at it per year.
Yeah.
Per year. Look at it per year. What's it going to cost you? What's the cap hit next year? 4 years from now, we'll worry about a cap hit that's going to be 4 years from now. And then what's the salary cap going up to 275? That's an extra $20 million. There you go. That's what you got.
You know what you're going
I myself would be getting rid of Tremaine Edmonds, but people don't listen to me. So,
yeah,
you're saying too much of a cap hit, but you get that
underperformed.
You still save money from this year, and you get the rest back next year.
Yes.
So
I can't. Tremaine's one of those players you can't defend. He's woefully underperformed. He did look good last year at the end of the year when you got more of a pass rush. So maybe that's the only, not last year, 2 years ago, when you brought in Montez, maybe that's the only saving grace. You're going to get a pass rush, you would hope, this offseason. But we'll see. Tremaine is going to be an interesting piece. And he has not lived up to the contract.
Peace out.
I love TJ Edwards, though.
Yeah, I like him. I like Sanborn. They're fine.
Would you move either of them to that spot if you move on from Tremaine?
Oh, I don't know.
Or would you address that also?
Don't they feel like they've got, who's number 41? 44. Noah Sewell.
Noah Sewell?
Yeah. Is he going to do anything ever? Or is that another one of Ryan Pohl's beauties?
That might be a punter.
Is that with is that the Velus Jones draft right there? I mean, not the same draft.
Not the same draft, but
the
defensive Velus
Noah
Jones.
Sewell. Hey, I got my eye on a guy. I think this guy's real good. I saw him at a bowl game.
Panay's brother.
Remember, nobody has failed upwards better than Ryan Pohl's has, especially if they give him a contract extension. I'm just like, how can you be so miserable at what you do and continues to get contract extensions? I don't get it.
That's how
We'll
most
see.
of the corporate world
Hey,
works.
let's hope he proves us wrong.
Let's hope he proves us wrong. Prove me wrong, please.
Yeah.
Make all the picks
Prove
right
us wrong. Be a miracle.
for the good.
Knowing
kid,
this
John
guy, he'd pick a
Jurkovic.
kicker in the second round.
Well, let's not do that. No more kicker talk. For the good kid, John Jurkovic, it's your boy Panther Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bet down, one love. Peace.